First on BBC One, That's Life, not to be sneezed at.
A nice video recorder, the two together will give me £10. And would you like to try it?
Ladies and gentlemen, we're so thrilled to be able to tell you that we have just been spotted by some major Hollywood producers. So this is the very last programme we're going to make from Shepherd's Bush. Isn't that fantastic news? We're going to explain all the details in just a minute. But first, we would like to thank Angela Toomey, who lives near Limerick, for sending us the bill she got from her garage in Duradoyle in Ireland. As you will see, they actually charged her £4.20 for a new part for the car, which was a squeak. I've got plenty of those, haven't you guys?
Yes, you have. What was it they charged you for?
A squeak.
Must be a bubble car.
What have you got there?
Well, now look, Easter's coming, isn't it? People go on vacation at Easter, so Janet Harrison decided to write to the Cherry Tree Holiday Park in Great Yarmouth in Norfolk, and she had a lovely letter back from Mr. Ollie Day.
Hi, Adrian.
Hi, Esther.
We had a few jokes last week about certain inches you were concerned about.
Yes, we did, and the sooner we don't talk about that, the better, I think, actually.
What about the extra inches this week? that have been discovered by BBC Wardrobe.
BBC. Look, the audience don't want to hear...
Around your waist?
No, the real audience really don't want to hear about this.
How are the trousers?
They're very tight, actually. Yes.
Sorry about that,
they're cutting something off, I'm not quite sure what. Anyway, right, moving swiftly... I think I've got your teeth in, actually. It's all going frightfully well. Anyway, Miss Elizabeth McGill from Troon in Ayrshire spotted a rather interesting notice in her paper. 6 rolls of wire meshing worth £1,200 were stolen from a work site. A fence is thought to be involved in the crime.
It would be, wouldn't it? Howard, what have you got? Any predictions for this weekend?
Have we time?
Yes, go on.
I've got a weather forecast. It was sent to me by Mrs. Biddlecombe. She found it in her Portsmouth paper. Light winds, getting brighter. Time to scrape off the barnacles and give your bottom a coat of paint.
Well, while you're doing that, please don't forget our hotline if you have any problems or want to tell us any more news of the stories we have for you tonight. The number, as always, is 08175244444. 4444. I'm afraid it's only open for 2 hours now, because after that time, we're all off to Hollywood, home of the stars. Goodbye to the budget, the recession. For us, it's sunshine, glamour from now on, and it's all thanks. Thank you so much, Brenda Richards, who lives in Billinghurst in Sussex, because she was the one who wrote to us. She said,
I did a creative writing course. I'm actually into my second novel now, and the first novel is called Return Journey, and I'm really very proud of it. So I was absolutely thrilled to see an advertisement in the Sunday papers from the Hollywood Script Company.
It's an advertisement that has run in the Sunday Times and the Observer and the Guardian and the Independent on Sunday. Actually ran this one last weekend.
Hollywood film producers are constantly looking for interesting story material and will pay substantial fees for the right story.
Now you... Starry?
Starry, not you.
These teeth again. You'd think that only professional writers would get their scripts accepted, but you would be wrong.
If you have written a book, even though it may not yet be published, which you believe would make a good film, then write for further information to...
And the company is the very one Brenda saw advertised back in September.
Hollywood Script, Suite 104, Pinewood Studios, Iverheath, Buckinghamshire.
Well, as you can imagine, she was thrilled. She sent off a letter to Hollywood Scripts, and back came a very glossy brochure.
Hollywood Scripts, your passport to success. Hollywood Scripts gives you
you a unique opportunity to penetrate the Hollywood jungle and to get your project in front of the right people who can make it happen for you.
Such a brilliant piece of poetic prose ought surely to be set to music.
Absolutely.
Top writers can command a fee in excess of $1 million plus profit points.
$1 million plus profit!
A new writer with very good script can command fees in excess of $500,000.
And according to their brochure, Hollywood Scripts knows the scripts to choose.
Hollywood Scripts will not represent any project. We are very selective.
And they list the best producers and the studios and say they deal with them all.
Paramount Pictures, Warner Brothers, Walt Disney,
MGA, UA, Columbia Pictures, 20th Century Fox, Universal Pictures.
So no wonder Brenda was thrilled to read all that. Hooray, she thought, for Hollywood Scripts. One snag, Brenda told us.
They say, because they get so many inquiries, most regretfully, we must now charge a £25 reading fee.
Yeah, but £25 isn't much, is it, if you're going to make $500,000, maybe even $1 million? So Brenda sent off the synopsis of her book, and they actually liked it. They asked her for all the rest, the full works. She sent it with the £25. Brenda told us.
It was fantastic. They wrote a couple of weeks later. Hollywood liked it. It had considerable potential, but it would have to be packaged first if we are to achieve the success we both seek.
And what would it cost to package it?
They charge anything from $6,000 to $16,000. Now that's at least £4,000. They do point out my author's fee, when the script's accepted, will be $274,125, but still, I just don't have the money they're asking. So I rang and explained. I said, please, could I have my manuscript back? But they still haven't sent it. Now that was last December. Can you get it back for me? And can you actually discover if they really do get people these fantastic chances in Hollywood? Or do they just accept any old rubbish just for the money?
We tried to find that out. The first thing we did to test how they choose their scripts was to sit down ourselves and write some terrible old rubbish. In fact, Gavin did it.
Yes, I did, and I worked really hard. It took me all of 4.5 minutes. But I was inspired because, you see, I took as my subject the story of Adrian's TV career.
Yes, I somehow feel I'm not going to like this.
I know, it's wonderful. Looking back, the things Adrian's done, the things we've all done for that life. I called my script after AD himself.
Satanic Mills. The adventures of a deeply flawed personality. Sexually ambivalent, he is unsure of his own gender. And he provokes unusual aggression, particularly from men.
It was the hit of our program. Come on, quiet!
Another friend tries to persuade him of the purity and strength of plants. And it begins to rub off. He begins to dress the part in vivid environmental camouflage.
What would you say, spinach?
She has taken the mickey out of the suit all night.
He seeks help from royalty. And in the final scene, he finds his happiness in an institution, in the company of other similarly tragic inmates.
Pretty moving stuff, as you saw. Then we had to find a pen name for ourselves. We chose Yuri Gretvis. Well, we sent it off, and while we were waiting, we rang round to see if any of the major film companies they claimed to work with had actually heard of Hollywood Scripts.
Warner Brothers hadn't, nor had Columbia Pictures, nor had MCA.
Paramount had. They told us they had received some scripts, but they sent them back unread. In fact, all the studios we spoke to said they never read unsolicited scripts.
And we discovered that Hollywood Scripts themselves aren't even licensed agents in Hollywood. Then this week we had another phone call from a gentleman called Peter Dodds. He told us that he'd just been summoned to Hollywood Scripts to discuss a script he'd sent them. So we went along with a hidden camera. Kevin, tell us what then transpired.
Well, Peter Dodds is a currency dealer, and he saw the ad in the Sunday Times, and he's also written an unpublished book as yet called called Bad Blood and Sweet Dreams. I had to look...
I tell you, that is an unforgettable title.
It's obviously had the right effect to me. I still haven't finished reading it yet because there are 740 pages of manuscript
Did
here.
Hollywood Scripts read all that?
Well, what Mr. Dodds did was,
Yes.
on about page 600, I've ripped it here, he actually slipped in a blank page that says, "Dear reader, please sign and date this sheet and leave inserted. Thank you."
Did anyone sign and date it?
Hasn't been signed.
Does he think anyone has read his manuscript?
Well, he doesn't think they've read it, and they haven't signed this sheet of paper, but
Yeah.
they did write back saying that they were very interested in it, and they wanted to send it to Hollywood for an opinion.
Well, perhaps it's better if you don't read it.
Probably not. But they did want $6,000 from Mr. Dodds just to package it properly.
That's a heck of a lot of money.
Well, it is, but Peter Harris, who's an executive producer of Hollywood Scripts, is seen here trying to convince Mr. Dodds that $6,000 is complete chicken feed compared to the money he will earn in Hollywood.
And this is how he did it.
To the average Briton, it is a lot of money.
To us.
But, well, yeah, to anybody. We're in the midst of a recession, money's tight and what have you. But within the Hollywood film industry, it's just peanuts. Do you know what I mean? I mean,
Well, maybe
there's
we'll be
guys,
in-
I've been over there talking to guys that are earning £3 or £4 million a year, and $3 or $4 million a year, and have just got ordinary jobs within the industry.
Well, that was Mr. Harris talking to Mr. Dodds, whose manuscript he had accepted. But the bad news is, I'm afraid, that Yuri Gretvis has just had a letter from Hollywood Scripts too. And guess what? They've accepted that amazing script. They've sent a letter saying so. Dear Mr. Gretvis, read Satanic Mills.
I knew it was good.
Yes, full of star quality.
Which means that they've actually accepted the only scripts we know that they've actually been sent from Brenda Richards and Peter Dodds and Yuri Gretvis. So we rang Hollywood Scripts. We spoke to Mr. Peter Harris. We said, we've now talked to a number of the big studios that you quote, and they've never heard of you. He said...
Is that what they say? Well, John Ferrara at Paramount is a good friend of ours.
He says he's not. And they wouldn't ever take a script from an unlicensed agent.
Aha, they may say that to you.
But what successes have you had?
What would be the point of us telling you? Our contacts cost us money. We've spent thousands and thousands.
We sent you a terrible script, and you accepted that.
Who says it's terrible?
Esther Ranson does.
How does Esther Ranson know?
Me say I can't tell rubbish after having spent my life in it. Do you turn anything down?
We turn down 90% of what comes into this office.
You can't, not if you accepted ours.
Did it come in under the name of Esther Ranson?
Not exactly. We did use a pen name.
Ah, what was it?
You regret this.
Yuri Gretvis. She's a very devious person, that Esther Ranson.
Well, she may be, but the bad news, Brenda and Peter, is maybe Hollywood isn't beckoning for you just yet. Maybe for you and for us. The cold, grey truth is that it's Shepherd's Bush for another week or two. And maybe before another newspaper like The Independent or The Sunday Times accept these advertisements, they could bear in mind that it isn't as easy to make $1 million selling a script to Hollywood as Hollywood Scripts would have us believe. So I'm awfully sorry, Gavs, but I'm afraid Hollywood is off.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Well, never mind, because tonight on this programme we're going to launch a brand new campaign in this country because St John Ambulance have asked us to help them create 250,000 new lifesavers with their Breath of Life campaign, which starts next Wednesday and goes on for 1 week. And in it they're offering special 2-hour courses all over the country to teach vital first aid techniques. The courses are free. There will be one, they say, near where you live. Trevor Hicks lives in Grassington in North Yorkshire, and he's done one of these courses. He told us...
I only wish I'd done it 4 years ago. I had 2 daughters. Sarah was 19 and studying in Liverpool University. Victoria was 15 and still at school. As you can see from the scarf, she was football mad. In fact, we all were, and Liverpool was our team. So, of course, we all went to the semi-final with Notts Forest in 1989.
And that match, as you may remember, was played at Hillsborough in Sheffield. Trevor told us...
The ground was very, very full. The girls were separated from us. They wanted to stand with their pals close to the fence at the front of the terrace. I became aware that something was wrong. People seemed to be going onto the pitch, and I couldn't see the girls, and I couldn't get to them.
What had happened, of course, was that the police had opened the gate to let the extra fans in. The crowd crushed forward against the barriers. It was a terrible tragedy, and the 2 girls, Sarah and Victoria, were right at the heart of it. Trevor described to us how he found them at last.
They were lying on the pitch next to each other, unconscious. People were wandering about them, some in a panic, some just dazed. There were no ambulances. The first aid facilities were swamped.
No wonder. Almost 100 people had been killed. 200 were injured. No one in Britain will ever forget it. Trevor described how he felt that day in the stadium.
I had to do something for my girls. They were my daughters. I had this awful feeling of inadequacy. I just thought, what do I do? It was such an important moment. It seemed I had seconds to try and save them. You don't get a second chance in that situation. You've got to get it right. I found myself desperately trying to remember what to do from the programs I'd seen. I'd tried heart massage and the Kiss of Life. I'd had no proper training. That's why I now think it's so vital for people to learn basic first aid. Sarah and Victoria died that day. We don't know exactly when, whether they were already dead when I got to them. Jenny, my wife, and I just felt our world had collapsed. We'd lost everything when we lost our only children. Who knows, if I'd just had that basic knowledge, I might have kept them alive till help arrived. It might have just made the difference. Everyone should get training. It's no good waiting until you're in a situation like this and then wishing you'd done it, like I did.
Have you done the course now?
I certainly have. In fact, I've got my first aid certificate. I learned how to resuscitate and how to deal with basic injuries, and I've actually used it recently. I fell from a ladder, and I was able to look after him until the ambulance arrived.
Adrian's in our studio audience right now.
Right, can I ask in the audience, who knows the resuscitation technique? Can you please put your hands up? That's probably a dozen people. Right, so let's pick somebody who doesn't. Gentleman sat here. Your name is? Colin. Colin, if you'd like to come this way. Thank you very much indeed. Didn't realise by sat there you'd be on television this evening. Down here we've got a St John ambulance man. Can you tell me what's actually happening here, Paul?
Well, here we seem to have someone who seems very, very unwell. So we need to... Right, you're Colin, yes? Colin. Right, Colin, if I have to kneel down here. First thing we need to find out is whether she's conscious or not. So to that end, we shake her and shout to see whether or not... If you'd like to do that. And we get no response from her. So the first thing we must do is open her airway. And we open it like that. Okay, so if you'd like to try that for me. We open her airway. And now we find out, is she breathing? We find out that simply, if you put your ear down by her mouth, look down her chest, and listen. Can you hear breathing sounds? Can you see her chest going up and down? Which unfortunately we can't, so which means she's not breathing. We find out, is her pulse going? Is her heart working? If you put your fingers on her neck like that, you can actually feel whether or not the heart is working. And we feel there's no pulse, which means her heart isn't working. Now, it's very important at this stage that we must get someone away to phone for an ambulance. We desperately need an ambulance on site. In the meantime, we're going to try and revive her. So the first thing we need to do is to put some air into her. So by pinching up the nose, and we blow into her like this. We do that twice. And now, because she didn't have a pulse, because the heart has stopped, we need to push down on her chest. We find the bottom of her breastbone there, place 2 fingers above that point, heel of hand above there. We're now going to press up and down 15 times, 1 and 2, and count as we go. I've just done that twice. And what we'll do, if we run you through, and you can do that, because you'll count through to 15. So start off here by putting in 2 breaths. Open her airway first. In go 2 breaths. 2 breaths. Work your way down now with your finger. Find there the bottom of the breastbone. Place 2 fingers above that point. Hand above there, and count your way through for 15 compressions. So 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5, count 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, followed by 2 breaths again.
And so it carries on.
And so you carry on till the ambulance turns up.
Thank you very much indeed, Paul. Now, who knows, someone watching us tonight may be able to use that knowledge to save a life. But there is an even better way.
Right now, there are special lines open. The number is 081 752 1919. And those lines are being staffed by St John Ambulance volunteers right now, and they're there until midnight. And they'll also tell you where these special courses are being run all around the country. Courses are being run all around the country.
The actual courses start on Wednesday of next week and run for a week. If you want to ring during that week to find out where there's one near to you, here's the free phone number. It's 0800 226 226.
So those are the 2 numbers to ring. Tonight you can ring 081 752 1919, or from Wednesday on the free phone number 0800 226 226. We'd like to congratulate Colin for doing that resuscitation. Are you glad you did it?
I am, yes.
Even though it was an ordeal on television?
Not really, no, it's fine.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Paul Roberts, for helping us. In our audience here tonight, we actually have Mr. Trevor Hicks, who inspired this item himself. What do you think, Trevor? To any viewer now, what would you say if they're thinking, wondering whether to take one of these courses?
Don't delay. You don't know when you're going to be in the situation I was in, and with just a couple of hours of your time given up, you could very well save somebody's life. So don't
Thank you
delay.
very much indeed, Trevor. Thank you. Howard.
Well, it's truly wonderful, the things that you can buy these days. For instance, Jane Hall found a terrific offer in her Solihull paper. Portaloo for hire for your outside functions. And if you go to Cornwall, Irene Lewis noticed in Newquay a chiropodist, 30 feet. And Jean Rees saw an unbeatable offer in her South Wales paper. There are snooker table, dark wood frame, no balls or leg. Reminds me of one of my colleagues, actually.
Oh, yes. We all take offence at that. We've discovered a brilliant new slimming cure we must tell you about. It's guaranteed to slim one particular part of your anatomy, your wallet. We've heard about it from Dane Reed, who lives in West London. He sent us a fax of this wonderful new idea.
Make money slimming by phone. This could be the easiest way to earn big money with no start-up costs.
The idea is you set up your own premium rate telephone line, the expensive kind, with slimming advice on it. They will supply the advice and the line absolutely free. All you have to do is advertise your line locally.
The potential earnings are over £400 every hour.
And what's more, you don't even have to draw your own advertisements. They supply them to you absolutely free.
Slimline, lose weight, lose weight. Call the number now and learn how. These ads can be distributed by hand, placed in shop windows, placed in local newspapers, etc. Good luck with your new business.
Good luck indeed. Dane told us.
I've got 2 kids and another on the way. I don't earn all that much at the moment, so the money they were promising would make a lot of difference to our lives. And of course, they're right. Millions of people want to lose weight. So maybe they would ring a slimming phone line. Except that I know all about premium rate lines from bitter experience.
Why? What happened to you?
Well, I saw a competition line advertised last year. I used to spend hours on the line, and I won a total of £50. Except when we worked out what it had cost us on our phone bill, one £12 prize actually cost us £35 to make the call. As soon as I realised that, I put a call bar on so that we can't make premium rate calls.
It might be worth just reminding ourselves what the premium rate numbers are. There they are, 0898 and 91 3981 36 and 38. And you'll see from those prices they are pretty expensive. So, Kevin decided to take up this special slimline offer and see what happened in his role as our undercover investigator. Tell us what you did.
Well, I phoned the company and I spoke to a chap called Ian who told me that I would earn 10 pence for every minute somebody was on my own premium rate line.
Well, that's not very much.
But the message lasts for 2 3/4 hours. So if somebody phoned, it would cost them £79. I would earn £17 or £18.
Well, I must say, to be able to spend £79, it must be dreadfully good advice they're offering.
Well, let's have a listen to it because it's very American.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Marlene Hunter. I'm a family...
Well, I can't say anyone could bear to listen to that for 2 hours.
Well, it's very interesting you should say that because when Ian briefed me on the phone, he did give me some advice about that particular thing.
I mean, it could be really naughty and say if ever you know of any spare phones at work that you can tuck in a drawer. But of course I didn't say that.
So he's telling you to make a phone call to your own line from work, put the phone in a drawer, and why does he sound so guilty about it at the end?
Well, he feels so guilty about it because if you have your own premium rate phone line and you phone from work so that the company picks up the bill, that's fraud and it's very serious.
But Kevin,
Yeah?
you've got your own premium rate slimline now.
Well, yes, I had to check it out.
And you rang it from work?
Yes.
From the BBC?
Yes.
Did you put the phone in the drawer?
No.
What
I
did Go on.
I rang on your line, Esther.
You realise what's going to happen, don't you? That will show up on the BBC's phone bill, £79, next to my name, another BBC scandal, a serious fraud. I've had it.
Oh, don't worry about it. I'm sure us and the rest of the guys here will all write to the Times for you.
Thank you very much indeed.
But don't worry about it. It did give us the chance to actually check out the advice that Slimline were giving. And basically, it's the low-fat, high-fibre diet. Ixtis, who are the watchdog body for premium rate lines, have got a new boss, that's Brenda Dean, and she tells us they're very concerned for several reasons. If it's medical advice they're giving out, then they should list the experts who are giving the advice. And if a message goes on for quite a while, like this one, 2 3/4 hours, then they should say so at the beginning of the message. The company who own this premium rate line and operate it are called Telephone Group Services, and they're based in Notting Hill in West London. When we contacted them, they said they would pull this premium rate line.
Thanks to a certain amount of pressure from Ixtis, so it is worth complaining to Ixtis if people are worried about these premium rate phone lines that they think may be a con.
But although this company pulled their own premium rate slim line phone line, all the other ones, the other premium rate lines they'd allocated to people like me, are still in operation.
You've still got yours?
I do, and I will earn 10 pence a minute, and it's only 2 3/4 hours, and it's still open, so the telephone number is 0891...
Thank you very much indeed, Kevin. I'm afraid that's all we have time for tonight. Thank you. Adrian.
Now, we try not to return to our campaigns too often because, of course, there are so many different subjects in your letters. But we know that one subject you feel very strongly about is bullying. And in a few days' time, it'll be the anniversary of the death of Catherine Bamber, the lovely 16-year-old who took her own life because she was being bullied.
You remember Catherine's family were determined that no other child should die as she did. And they felt the time had come for us all to act to try and stamp out bullying from our schools. Well, now we wondered what has changed in the year since Catherine's death.
Well, one thing is that we've discovered just how common this problem is. The special information line that was set up with the Bamber family's help as part of their campaign has now had 10,500 calls. It's run by the anti-bullying campaign, and the number is 071 378 1446 7 8 or 9, and it's open during office hours.
We've sent out more than 10,000 of these special fact packs which have some of the very useful techniques schools can use against bullying, like anonymous questionnaires, so that children can feel safe to talk about their suffering. And this, the no-blame approach we showed you, which stops the bullying without running the risk of making the whole thing worse.
Because that is a very real risk. Catherine Bamber told her family when she was first bullied, and they told her school. But when it all started over again, Catherine must have felt completely despairing. After all, she'd tried once to stop the bullies, she'd failed. Now it was all beginning again, so this time she told no one. Instead, she took her life.
And just last week, a year after Catherine's suicide, another precious young life was lost. A 12-year-old called Stephen Woodhall, who lives in Smethwick. Perhaps you saw the reports of his death. Like Catherine, when the bullying first started, he told his father, Ken Woodhall, who told the school. But when it started again, Stephen told nobody.
There was a lot of pain in Stephen's life. His mother had left the family just before Christmas. There were 4 children, and Stephen was very aware how lonely his father was, how badly Ken missed her.
Perhaps the bullying was the last straw. We went to Smethwick, where the Woodhalls live. The streets are boarded up at the moment. The council are pulling the houses down. It may be an improvement one day, but at the moment, there's nowhere for the children to play. Ken told us it's a breeding ground for bullies. What sort of little boy was Stephen? Describe him to me.
Happy-go-lucky. He got on well. Same as any other kid, I think. Having little scraps and that. But he was lovable. I mean, I'd have another 4 like him. Because he was just like a brother, a friend, and a son, all in one. When you have somebody for 12 years, you remember the 12 years with him. And it's a loss, I'll tell you.
How long had the bullying been going on?
I should say, the first week he started school.
Gosh. What form of bullying was it?
Taxing, taking money off him.
Can you explain this taxing?
They tell you to jump as your money rattles. Then they know you got money.
And they take it off you?
Then they take it.
Now, were these older boys, bigger boys?
He didn't say.
Were there other kinds of bullying?
He come home with a few bruises on his face.
Do you know how it happened, where it happened?
He just wouldn't say.
If there's a child now, listening to us now, who is being bullied, what would you tell them?
Tell your mum or your dad. Drum it into your mum and your dad. Don't hold it back. Stephen never had the chance because he never told me. You've got the chance out there to tell your mum or your dad, your uncle, aunt, even to ring a line, or even to go to the police station.
There'll be people who know Stephen in the school now who are blaming themselves. What would you say to them?
Can't blame yourselves. I can't blame myself. He did have a lot of friends at the school, boys and girls. You mustn't blame yourself.
What can teachers do to protect children like Stephen?
Well, this no-blame approach is one of the most hopeful ideas because, of course, nobody gets into trouble. A child who tells doesn't get frightened that he or she will get beaten up, that it'll somehow make things worse. Any school that's interested, do please get in touch with us.
Because it does seem to work. In fact, one head teacher calls this no-blame technique a magic aspirin. So we went to Shireland High School, which was Stephen's school in Smethwick, and we showed the no-blame approach to Stephen's own headmaster, Brian Worrell, and we asked him what he thought of the idea.
What attracts me about the no-blame approach is the fact that it's a fairly immediate process that can be applied by a teacher to a situation.
Do you think out of Stephen's death we may find some lessons which could help us protect other children?
Yes, I mean, absolutely. I have said to people about Stephen's death that it hit us hard because we're a school that does care about the children and has tried to help them. And all this is going to do is to make us redouble our efforts and try harder, if you like, to see that we're accessible to children, that children can tell us things and so on.
A lot of schools would have said no to the media at this time and no to That's Life coming in, but you didn't. Why not?
Because being bullied, being made unhappy, is probably the most terrible thing that can happen to a child. It happens to adults too, but to a child, they don't have the way to deal with it, they don't have the experience. And I hope through your programme that children, more children, can be encouraged to tell somebody, and more parents can be encouraged to take the knowledge they have to the school. You know, often, and in my experience, parents did know something was going wrong, but have said to me, well, we didn't like to bother you. We thought it was nothing. You're too busy. It's our job to be bothered. So, you know, they should tell if they know and encourage their children to tell. If they can't tell a teacher, tell another pupil. But just tell somebody.
And that is the message of this particular leaflet, which has been printed by the schools since we met last week. Tell, children tell, families tell, and teachers listen. Because that would be the best way to create a lasting memorial to these children. Stourport High School, where Catherine Bamber went, are putting together a special service in her memory. But her father, David Bamber, said,
the only fitting and appropriate way to honour her memory would be to tackle the issue of bullying in the school.
In Catherine's memory, in Stephen's memory, the experts all agree we adults must do more to make sure these children are protected so that no more young lives are lost, as Stephen's father told us.
It's got to stop now. Or some other parents are going to go through the same what I'm going through. And it's just got to stop.
Let's hope it soon does. Howard.
We had a very heartening letter the other day from Elizabeth Wally. She said, I really must thank you. Do you remember February the 29th, a year ago, you did some street interviews asking people who they wanted to propose to, and Esther pounced on me. So on the spur of the moment, Elizabeth proposed most romantically like this.
If you don't marry me, I'm going to find somebody else with lots of money who'll say yes.
That's the most romantic proposal I've ever heard. And who's the lucky...
An ultimatum.
Who is the gentleman?
His name is Ian.
Right. Well, Ian, there you are. You've heard the dismal truth. It's now or never, yes?
That's about it, yeah. That's the strength of it.
Let us know if it works.
I will.
Yeah.
Well, Well, Ian was watching, and guess what? They've just got married. And so far, it's an unqualified success. Mind you, they've only been married for 2 months, but even so, these days, that's quite an achievement. In fact, they're here tonight to celebrate, so congratulations, Elizabeth and Ian. That's wife.
That's wife. Or indeed, if it doesn't work, I suppose that's strife. Always blame us. Last week, Matthew Barden here challenged any viewers to see if they could do it better than him. He does it brilliantly. Show them exactly what it is, Matthew.
There once was a lovely darkness with feathers all stumpy and brown.
That's absolutely brilliant. Scarcely did he do that on our programme, then we found that this is just the tip of the iceberg. We had hundreds more. Tell me your name.
John Syme.
And what do you do?
I'm a housing officer for Glasgow City Council.
Right, and what do you do like Matthew?
What has he got? I've got himself. Two services, 20 players, I've got the legs, I've got the ears, I've got the stairs, I've got the blows, I've got the
Glasgow housing officers have changed. Tell me your name.
Vince Passmore.
Vince Passmore? And how old are you, Vince?
10.
And what do you do? Oh, the lyrical beauty! Madam, your name?
Hilary Barry.
Hilary Barry?
Barry.
Bowie?
Hilary Parry.
Parry? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not good at duckies. Do you sing?
No.
You speak?
I speak.
Who do you speak to like this?
My children.
Right. Bringing up the way they want to go on. Tell me your name, sir?
My name is Dirk Buddha.
Dirk Buddha.
No, Dirk Buddha.
Tell me in your real voice.
Clark Berger.
Ah, smooth. And what do you do?
I work for Harrods.
And you talk like that at Harrods?
No, I couldn't get away with it there.
You've got a small guitar. Sing to us.
Sean Paul.
Right, and where are you from?
Birmingham.
You have a very strong Birmingham accent.
No, I'm a stump.
Ivy, what do you do?
Everybody's doing a brand new that sound. Come on, baby, do ya, you come on, sir. You will be your dancer, so here's your blue. He's on the sound, and when you see it, feel. So come on, do ya, you come on, you with me.
Choose a winner.
No, they're all as good as each other.
They're all as good as each other. I quite agree. Thank you very much for joining us, all of you. Thank you for joining us at home. Till next week, from us all.
You got a lighter in this thing? Tomorrow at 7:30, there's a rather large cuckoo in the nest.
Hello?
We do have time to be tolerant.
I don't. It's me or him.
Man could have parties here. This place has style.
I need men.
That's it. Hey, what did he say? I heard speak frog.
Let's put him in a nice black plastic bag and dump him.
Alf Molina as the unwanted guest in A Year in Provence.
Don't worry. The English are very emotional.
Tomorrow at the new time of 7:30 on